Welcome to another episode of our Voices Matter podcast, where we are talking about all things COVID-19, of course, right now, as we continue to work through this global pandemic together. We're always looking for stories and tools and things to share to help each other get through this process. And I'm really delighted to have with us today Linda Rhodes, the Executive Director of the Women's Fund here in Houston. The Women's Fund is all about helping women and girls advocate for their own health. And of course, they, like everybody else, are doing everything that they can to help their clients in this age of COVID-19. So Linda, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with our audience today and letting them know how the Women's Fund is helping women and girls advocate for their health during this particular crisis. How have you pivoted in these last few weeks in order to reach your audience?
So what we've done is most of all of our classes have typically been face-to-face classes. So what we've done is we have taken our classes online. Using Zoom, the platform Zoom like we're using today. We have started every Wednesday at 2 p.m. having our WAP, which is our Women's Health Advocacy classes, or Smart Lunches online. We started with stress and coping because this is a very stressful time for everyone and we need to understand how to cope during these difficult times. And have moved forward through resiliency, which is the basis of everything that the Women's Fund teaches. We've had physical fitness is coming up this Wednesday. Last week we had positive thinking. How do you think positively in times like this? And our classes are interactive. So that's been a little bit of a change for us because even, when you have people online, it's a little harder to be organic and answer questions as you go along. So we're doing that through the Zoom chats, and we of course have a dedicated email for our health professionals at Health Educator at the Women's Fund, where people can email us.
Well, let me ask you, when you say it's interactive and you're wanting people obviously to get their questions answered, so what kinds of questions are you getting right now, particularly in the area of stress and coping and mental health?
Well, people have been asking for tools and resources, and so we will direct them to our website. And while we're not a direct provider, we do have tools in our publications. All of our publications, we distribute close to 10,000 a year. We publish them. They were written by medical professionals and for the Women's Fund. And while we usually distribute those in hard copy, we do have them available in a PDF downloadable form on our website. So we have 4 publications. Our What Are the Facts, which is for women, and covers, everything from your physical and nutritional health to your emotional health also. And we have our What About Me, which is a girl's guide to health. And then our Which Way, which is a activity and nutritional guide for families. And then our health tracker, which is our How's My Health. So they're all available on our website. 2 of the books are What Are the Facts and What About Me are also available in Spanish. And I believe we've gotten up the Spanish version of Which Way.
So when people go to the website, they can download and access these tools.
Right.
What is it that you as an organization are most concerned about during this particular crisis? As you've spent your time over the last 40 years, not you personally, but the fund itself, of course, has spent the last 40 years educating women and girls about how to advocate for their health. What kinds of unique challenges does this particular crisis pose, and how are you addressing it?
Well, I think what we're trying to do is give women and girls those tools, with resiliency. It is not a trait that we're inherently born with. It is a skill that can be learned. And research shows that individuals, not just women and girls that are resilient, bounce back a lot better and their overall health outcomes are much greater. So during this time when we're all in a unique situation, I don't think any of us have ever been through anything like this, where the entire country is pretty much, I won't say lockdown, but we're at home. You know, a lot of different things happen. We're dealing with stress, we're dealing with anxiety. We've become homeschooled, become teachers. I mean, you know, and we're trying to do our jobs. So how do you cope with that? And how do you look past where we are today and set some goals for the future? You know, with unemployment rising, we're worrying about our money. That's a stressor. You know, we're in our homes, confined with hopefully a small group of individuals. Healthy relationships is a very important factor in overall health outcomes. And listening to the reports now, the reports of domestic violence are up over 35% at this point. So
that, you know, that is, you're so correct about that. And in fact, we did a podcast about that not too long ago, just trying to help people understand what the lay of the land is, and how you can deal with situations if you happen to find yourself in one of those dangerous and violent situations.
Right.
So it's something it's so hard to think about something like that during this time, but there are many people out there that are going through that sort of
they're going through those type of things. And, you know, the topics that we've chosen for our virtual presentations are all ones that myself and our staff are going through. And they're also the most requested presentations we receive. You know, we started with stress and coping for a very, obvious reasons, positive thinking. This week is physical activity. When you look at the data out there, heart disease, exercise, eating right, Alzheimer's, exercise, eating right, diabetes, exercise, eating right. So those basic type of things play an important role in our overall health. And we know that with anxiety and mood disorders, exercise and eating right are an important factor. Well, our food chain has been a little disrupted. It's not as bad as other places in the country. We can't always find everything we want in the grocery stores. But then you think of at-risk and underserved populations, they're typically in food deserts, so they don't have access to those things anyway.
So you have resources available on your website for that population?
In our publications. So in the back of every book, there are resources to access. And if you reach out to us at healtheducator@thewomensfund.org, one of our health education specialists will respond and provide you with resources or try to guide you as best they can. Our services don't take the place of your doctor or your mental health professional, but we do have resources and tools available. And, we have two ways to reach us: healtheducator@thewomensfund.org and WOMFund, ROMFUND, @thewomensfund.org. And those are generic mailboxes, and someone will reply to you within 48 business hours.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I want to switch gears just a little bit and ask you about how the nonprofit itself is faring during this time. So there's been a lot of talk, of course, about businesses and small businesses, but you run a nonprofit. I also have a nonprofit, and I'm wondering how you are navigating this time in terms of how you think about moving forward with your fundraising and just how you operate. How is the Women's Fund itself being impacted by COVID-19?
Well, pretty much we've gotten 2 donations since the middle of March, which, is disheartening. We have chosen at this point not to do any major fundraising. We have postponed our wine dinner till June the 3rd. It will be at Tony's, and the fortunate piece is we had raised probably half the funds that we expected to raise with that at this point. Fiscally, we were in a very good shape at the beginning, before this happened. And years ago, in 1999, our board had the foresight to create some measures, put some measures in place where we would have funding. So we were very fortunate to have a place to go. So we have the funding we need, and our current board of trustees, is committed to making sure that our staff is not impacted and we're able to provide the services that we do. We reach close to 12,000 women and girls each year.
Well, I just want to say, I think it's great that you have taken all of your programming to put it online to help women and girls and their families through this very challenging time, and just trying to keep us all healthy and sharing resources. So if there were one final thing you wanted to leave our audience with today, what would that be?
Well, I would say, let's be resilient, Houston. Again, it's a trait that we can all learn, or a skill we can all learn. And that ability to bounce back, and Houston will bounce back, and most of us will. I think that that's probably one of the most important things, is that we can get through this. The programs we have are while they're geared for women and girls, and men can take things away from this also. I just want to say that. And, we've got a really robust lineup of programs scheduled between now and the middle of June. We haven't posted 4 of them. We actually have.
We're going to link everything to your website.
Okay.
So
yeah, we're working on getting this.
We'll be able to get to your website and see the full scope and range of all the programming that you guys are offering.
Yes, guests can register. And again, while 90% of the people we serve are underserved and at risk, the programming we have is suitable and applicable to my life and your life also. So we're
all going through this. We're all going through this together, and the more resources we can get, the better. And so thank you very much, and all of your colleagues at the Women's Fund, for what you're doing to help women, girls, and their families become more resilient during this very stressful time. And even though we're based here in Houston, this is information that can be used because we have an audience outside of Houston as well. So
wonderful.
People who are outside of Houston, you should also feel free, obviously, to go to the website, participate in these resources if they can be helpful to you. Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Be well through this time, okay?
I will. You too. Okay. Take care.
You too. And thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of our Voices Matter podcast. We'll see you next time. Be well.